Hey, it's Tom from Texas, and it's time for another Floppy Deep Dive. And today we are going to be doing another edition of
What's on that floppy?
Today we've got this one floppy that I pulled, and it has got 5 or 6 different games on here we're going to be checking out, and I'm going to be playing for the first time in 30 years, and just having some fun trying to figure these out, doing a little research on each of these, and so I know a little bit more about it than I did before when I got started. I also want to do a shout out to Jerry Bonner, who wrote a really good article in it's gamepressure.com. And in that article, he mentioned my little YouTube channel, and I wanted to say thank you to Jerry for mentioning us out there amongst all these big ones that have, 800K, 1,000K, and we're down here with our 1.6, but we continue to grow, and I'm really proud of what we've done so far. And it's just nice to get a little recognition to my tiny YouTube channel and trying to grow and be better every time we make a video. So again, thank you to Jerry, and I'm going to put that link down in my details of this video so you can click on it and go check out that article because it was just really, really cool to get mentioned in that. So let's go ahead, pull up a chair, grab a joystick, and let's get started. So first game we're going to look at is the Goonies by Datasoft. And this is one of my favorite games, and this is one of my favorite movies from the 80s. Just loved it as a kid and still love it today. Just Goonies till you die, right? And so going to look at this game, look at a little bit of the gameplay and the different stages in this game. The first stage is the Lighthouse Lounge, and then the second stage is the Falling Boulders Booby Trap. And the third is the Astoria Country Club, the Plumbing. Fourth is the Copper Bones Triple Stones Booby Trap. Fifth is the Skull Cavern. 6 is the Bone Organ. 7 is Water Slides and Octopus. And 8 is the Inferno. And that's all the different stages of this game. And just like I said, just a very clever put together game. The music you always remember from the hit song Good Enough by Cyndi Lauper, so directly tied into the movie. You got your different things, the puzzle game that you got to solve that Datasoft did so well when it created games, just like they did with Bruce Lee. They did with the Goonies title, and like I said, just so much fun. Loved this game, loved the movies and the whole tie-in, so it did not disappoint at all. Now this game came out in 1985 and it was released on multiple different systems, not just the Commodore. It was also released on the Amstrad and the ZX Spectrum and the Atari, and I have the Atari version, and this would also be another good one to do the mini faces of, just to do the differences. A lot of people know the Goonies 2 from the NES, but I hear that's terrible and I've never played that one. This one is just quality. This one's good through and through, has, like I said, plenty of playability to go back and play it again, and very hard to get in and get to the end to solve all these different puzzles. And the reception of it was, overall positive when it came out. And usually, sometimes movie games aren't the greatest in the world, but this one definitely lived up to it. Quality game. If you've never played the Goonies, you need to get it and you need to load it up and give this one a shot because it is well worth it. So next we're going to be looking at Commando, that was released by Capcom in 1985, and this was ported over from the arcade, and this port was excellent. They did a great job on it. You could look at the arcade port here, and I'll show a little bit of the arcade version of gameplay, and you can see what it looks like, and then we'll go back to the Commodore 64. And it is very, very similar, and they just did a really good job of it, porting it over to it. Of course, there were many releases. I had a past video talking about Commando 86, but this one here is the original. This is the one that came out in 1985. This is the one with the great music by Rob Hubbard that everybody loves and is so ingrained in everybody's brain and would be, you know, on the top of the list when it comes to music and games. And just like Goonies we talked about, the music in it, this one was just as important and just important part of the gameplay, and Rob Hubbard did just a great job of it. And this one here, I give 2 thumbs up. The playability is great. You got like the bird's eye view where you're looking over it, looking down on the gameplay while you're playing, and where you can see the guys to shoot and throw your grenades by hitting the space bar. And then it's just very, very much fun single play. I know in Germany that they actually had a different version of this because they said it glorified violence, and so they changed the name to Space Invasion, and I believe they replaced the soldiers with white robots. So it kind of reminded of the stormtroopers of Star Wars. But over here in the States, we had this one. We got to play it. Your name, you're Super Joe, and you're a two-fisted elite soldier from the 80s, and you're just fighting all alone against all these men coming at you. All you have equipped is your M60 machine gun and your 6 hand grenades, and going around and saving people when you can save them, and taking out, you know, vehicles when you can take out vehicles. And it was just a blast. This game is something that you could always load up and have a good time playing anytime. They did just a wonderful job on it, and I give it a huge 2 thumbs up. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game. So next we're going to be looking at Friday the 13th, and this game came out also in 1985. All these games were released around the same period, and this came out on obviously the Commodore, the ZX Spectrum, and the Amstrad. And this game was based off of the movie, and basically what you could do as the player is you could roam around freely in the scenery and walk inside and outside buildings, and you're looking for Jason, okay? And Jason can walk all around just like you can, and your goal is to make sure that your friends don't get killed by Jason. And he often comes, he's disguised as one of them, so unless you hit him with something, that's the only way to make him visible. And once he's visible, he's a man that's dressed in black. Now, I don't know why they had him as a man dressed in black, because that doesn't tie back to the movie at all. You have different weapons that you could find while you're walking around. There's just chainsaws and pitchforks and machetes and axes and hatchets and everything laying scattered all around the camp, in the various buildings, in the barn, in the church, in the cabin. And then once you get it picked up, you could use it to confront Jason. And there are 5 levels in this game, and each time that you assume one of the roles of another character, and it's just random at the start of the game, and it kind of uses a 3D type view along with a more traditional side view depending on where you're located at. And it also shows a fear meter in the form of a blonde woman's head with their hair standing on ends to symbolize the player's character level of fright at the time. So unlike the Nintendo system, this game included scenes of gore consistent with the film franchise. For example, when a character is killed by Jason, sometimes there's a scream followed by a quick cut to a graphic image of a machete embedded into their head. So it was much more violent on this one here. And the whole appeal of this was obviously the horror elements and to kind of tie into the big Friday the 13th franchise, which was just so huge in the 80s. But again, the big thing that people criticized it for is that it didn't really match the movie and it didn't have anything in common. I give this game just okay. Wasn't crazy about it like I were the first two games. It was, different and did have the Friday 13th tie-in. And if you like the horror films and so forth, you would like playing this game too, I think. And so that's Friday the 13th. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. So the next game we're going to be looking at is Blagger Goes to Hollywood. And this one was released also in 1985, and it's kind of just a side view and I would say it's an action game. And what this is Blagger's back, and so there's another game with Blagger in it, but this one he's coming back and he decided to take a tour of Hollywood and to the movie sets in an attempt to steal the latest film. So what you do is you go in here and you encounter a bunch of movie characters. You encounter James Bond, Batman, Superman, Jaws, Tarzan, Robin Hood, Incredible Hulk, Darth Vader, and each character is recognized by the theme tune that as you approach them. So the idea is that you're supposed to kill each of these characters using a variety of props that are scattered around the set, and each prop must be connected with the movie star, and any other prop won't have any effect at them at all. So when a star is killed, it'll leave behind an object that you can use to kill other characters. So once all the characters have been killed, you can proceed to the office where all the characters are resurrected, and you got to kill them all again. So I know there is no way they got permission to have all these different characters in this game and to have their theme music and everything. I just don't see it. But I don't think back in 1985 that it mattered. I don't think anyone sued them for it. I haven't found anything along those lines. It was actually pretty cool just to see all the different versions of these different characters in the same game and to have their theme music play when you're going. I can't say I recognized all the different theme songs when they played it. They play it all in the intro. When you first load up the game, you could hear all the different songs and the different sounds, and I was trying to identify them all. Obviously the Tarzan, and some of them are very easy, and the Jaws and so forth, but some of them I had no clue. I figured out which one was the Incredible Hulk one because I went into the Incredible Hulk room and I heard the song playing, so I was like, oh, so that one ties to that one. But this game, interesting. I couldn't find a prop to kill any of them. I didn't really know when I was going, and I think when I played it back in the day, I didn't know what I was doing either. But I learned that I'm supposed to have these props and I'm supposed to kill these characters, but I never did find a prop that matched the other one to be able to kill it, to do what I have to do. They always just killed me and then the game would just be over. I think this one could be fun. I'm going to check it out some more. After this, it's on my list of continue to play and see if I enjoy this one. I think this is unique. I don't know if any of you guys ever played it. Love to hear your comments if this was a game that you played quite often or if you finished this game. I know I never got to the end, but very cool. Again, tied to Hollywood and movies and our whole theme of for the day. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game. So the last game we're going to be looking at, and I don't believe is movie related, is Wizard Lair. And this game also came out in 1985, so there's a very good chance I downloaded all these games in 1985. And Wizard Lair is one of those ZX Spectrum looking games that came out that's on the Commodore 64. And everything moves really, really fast in this game. And so it's kind of hard to shoot different things or actually aim. You just got to hold down your button and hope that when your weapons are spinning it around that it will actually kill these different creatures that are coming out with all these colorful rocks and everything all around. And when you go around, at first I didn't even know I could shoot. I saw that I had weaponry, but I didn't push the button. I was just trying to figure out how to get out of here because they were coming at me so fast. I was just trying to move, and I could pick up, crosses and crossbows and find gold and find different things while I'm out there. But once I figured out, oh yeah, I could push this button and shoot, I was like, okay, that brings another element. But when it's bouncing off the walls and these things are going everywhere, it's hard to really focus on something. You kind of just got to keep moving and keep moving fast. And there's times when you can actually spend that gold, and they'll give you options to purchase different things with it. And when you get more comfortable with the weapons bouncing and where they're going to go, you could actually take out these creatures a little bit better. I like this game. I know some people had issues with it just because it was so fast, but I didn't have any of those kind of issues with it. I thought that it was put together well. It's one of these typical type of games where you gotta find the different things, and it's another puzzle game, right? So it's not quite as to the level of like a Gauntlet or something like that, but that's what it kind of reminds me of, right? When you're going through and all these creatures are everywhere, so it kind of reminds me of a Gauntlet, but obviously this was before Gauntlet. But I liked Wizard's Lair. If you've never played it before, I think that it's worth checking out. Like I say on the other games that I love this whole disc. I thought this floppy was just had unique games on it that were fun to play. It was great memories bringing them back. I haven't played the Friday the 13th forever. I've played Goonies quite a bit, so I played that recently. But all these other ones I haven't played. And this Wizard's Lair, I can't remember really playing it that much besides probably just trying it out. You don't want to touch the skulls and stuff, that'll kill you. But I didn't have any problems with that. You get to find keys, rings, diamonds, different stuff. And I think this one could potentially be lots of fun. So that's all the games for today. Let's go ahead and get this all wrapped up. So that's it, guys. That's all the games on here with the movie base. We got to look at some of my favorite Goonies, which is one of my favorite movies and game on the Commodore 64. We got to look at Commando, got to look at Friday the 13th, and we got to look at a few others. So I really enjoyed this floppy, had some good ones on here, and I hope you enjoyed it too. So until next time, thank you for joining me on another edition of Floppy Deep Dive.